As a lot of you know, this is the start. It's number one of a series of a collaborative private label product launch that we're going to do totally transparent. And we want to do this because we felt like there's lots of great information out on the web, on podcasts, YouTube, whatever, about this whole process of sourcing and selling a product on Amazon. As all you guys probably know are in here, it's an incredible opportunity right now. I know a lot of you guys want to take advantage of. But the one thing kind of no one does is share all the details. No one really shares their product. And I totally understand this. It makes complete sense to me, because the problem is, if you start sharing like, hey, I'm selling this one particular widget and I'm making $10,000 a month, you're going to have a lot of copycats. So I understand why people don't do it. But at the same time, it's kind of tough for newbies, someone just starting out, when there's kind of missing pieces of the puzzle. So we're going to be totally transparent, the whole thing, all the hiccups along the way, all the problems we run into, all of our successes. We're going to be totally transparent about, how long it takes. Some people kind of comment in the Facebook group, I'm frustrated because, the factory takes a month to produce my product. And I mean, that's real life. And, those are the kind of things that you can see following along with us. Or another example would be, hey, is this supplier trying to rip me off? He wants to charge me $60 for a sample, including shipping. And again, that's one of those things that's no, that's, it is expensive to ship these small items from China for a sample. So that's, that's a reasonable amount to pay. So those are just the kind of things that, through a fully transparent process, you can learn some more about this. So it's going to be an awesome way to give back to all of you guys who have been great, giving to each other. I know a lot of you are big Jungle Scout fans, so that's awesome. And another really cool thing that we're doing is we're going to donate 100% of the proceeds that we make from this to a charity that we're going to have you guys help us choose. So that's really cool. Another good way to give back. And it's another way just to do kind of like testing. For instance, once we launch the product, we can do a test and say hey, we're going to switch out some of these keywords in our bullets, and let's see what kind of effect this has on our rank. And you guys can, since you know what our product is, those are the type of things that you can now follow along with. So it's going to be really cool. So
yeah,
that being said,
we do fully encourage you to offer ideas or contribute some tactics that might work for you or that you haven't tried yet, but you can view along on our dime. It'll be an interesting collaborative learning experience. We don't know what the product is or what the timeline is. So there is going to be some kind of nebulous part of the scheduling. So bear with us on that, because there might be some lag between choosing the product, getting it manufactured, getting it in our hands and whatever. So we're going to do it as quickly as possible so we don't drag the process on, but just allow for that flexibility up front.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gang. So yeah, like you said, we don't know for sure. For instance, getting our samples, we might be able to get a sample of the product we want in 1 week, or it might take 2 or 3 weeks. And that's what happens in real life as well. So we have no idea what our product's going to be. We're going to start looking for that tonight. And then we're going to see how far we can get tonight. At the end of tonight, I would like to have maybe 5 or so product ideas. And then we can follow along with these product ideas a little bit more. And then maybe a week from now, we can go look at the product we collected over the course of a week, decide which product is the best fit for us. And from there, we'll go on to the next stage, which would be starting to try to find a supplier, contacting factories.
Awesome. So before we actually dive in, can you just kind of lay out what the strategy would be on a high level, how we can set ourselves up for success, whether that's the type of product or the category or how we find the product or the market we're targeting, what the mindset should be?
Sure, good question. So if you want to do this private label type sales model, which is what we're going to be doing during this series, and which is really popular for a good reason, is you're going to want to look for a product that you can get from, probably a Chinese factory to the States fairly cheaply and easily. And that means that you want it to be relatively small and lightweight. We want to look for a product that is going to have plenty of demand on Amazon. So we're going to look for a product that is already selling well on Amazon. We're not going to try to guess and say oh, this is a really cool item. No one's selling it on Amazon yet, or no one's selling anything like it. But since it is really cool, I know it's going to sell well. That's kind of a dangerous way to go about it, you know, like just hoping it's going to sell well. So we're going to look for a product that already has a good amount of demand on Amazon. We don't want it to be too competitive. You know, if we make a search for that item, we don't want to see that there's 100 other people with like tons of reviews and ranked really high that are already selling this item. And so a few of the other things we look for is we would prefer it to be kind of like a non-high liability type item. And what I mean by that is like, we're not going to do like a knife or like a blowtorch or something like that that opens us up to more liability than what we'd like. We want something fairly simple so that hopefully just alleviate any headaches that might come down the road from the product, like breaking or poor quality control at the factory, that kind of thing. What else am I forgetting, Gen? What else are we going to be looking for?
Well, Barbara Summerwell just mentioned, how about a socially and environmentally responsible product?
That'd be really cool.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We'll keep that in mind when we're looking for a product tonight as well. If we see something, especially if we're torn or stuck between 3 items we think might be good, I think that'd be awesome if we could, you know, do something socially, environmentally responsible as well.
Okay, awesome. And then what tools would I need to have in order to start the process of finding a product? I assume an internet connection, some maybe list of stuff, but like, am I following my passion or following an interest or like whatever the market demands?
Yeah. So me personally, I would recommend what the market demands. And I kind of said, you know, what's already selling well on Amazon. So that's what I would recommend. As you guys know, we are the creators of Jungle Scout. So we will be using the Jungle Scout tools during this process. You don't need them. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that when, you know, we're the owners of the company here. But and we'll even show for you, you know, how to do this without our tools, because I don't want this to turn into a sales pitch. Obviously, we're going to use them because they're tremendously helpful, but we'll also throw in all the ways that it's like, okay, if you don't want to use Jungle Scout tools, don't have the money to buy them or whatever, we'll show you how to do it that way as well.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I think most people are probably in the room now. What do you think, Gen?
Yeah, I think let's get started. That's fine.
All right, cool. So how we'll start here is, and again, like I said, tonight we're going to be using Jungle Scout tools pretty heavily because we are right now in the product research phase, and that's what Jungle Scout is. It's a suite of product research tools. So tonight you might find we're kind of heavy on using our own tools, where in the coming weeks, once we get past the product research phase, you'll probably see us go like entire webinars. So again, I'm definitely doing my best to make sure it doesn't turn into a sales pitch. But you will see us using our tools though. So just to start, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here. And let me go ahead and do that. And then let me know when you can see my screen again.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So to start, we want to come up with product ideas. All right. So I'm going to call this kind of the old fashioned way. This is what we were doing before Jungle Scout existed. And this is a good spot to look for product ideas. And this is the Amazon bestseller section. So what I kind of used to do is I used to, and you can just Google search Amazon bestsellers to find this page. I used to go in here. I would drill down on some of these subcategories on the left-hand side. And in there, I would look for potential product ideas, okay? So, you know, I might go through here and say, let's see, this activated charcoal sponge looks kind of cool. I'd click on it. I could go down here and look at the bestsellers rank, and from there get an idea of how well this item's selling. And I'll go ahead and actually just throw this in there. Again, can share this link. On the Jungle Scout site, this is a totally free tool, 100% free. We have a sales estimator. So you can plug in that it's 182 in health and personal care, and we'll give you an estimate of how many units that's going to sell per month. And that's, you don't even have to put an email to opt in or whatever. That's totally free. So this is what I used to be doing. I used to go through, try to find product ideas this way, and you can kind of get a bunch of ideas and then pursue these ideas further.
Yeah, Greg, real quick, It is a bit blurry for me and some of the other people.
All
I don't
right,
know if there's a way, maybe.
Okay, I might just try to stop scrolling around so fast, and that might help a little bit.
Okay, yeah, sure, thanks.
But yeah, make sure to cut in if my screen freezes or gets too blurry or you can't read it or that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
So yes, this is one way to come up with product ideas. I'm not going to use this method too much tonight because it is pretty time consuming, and I'd like to keep this webinar to about an hour. But as you guys can imagine, you can drill down through all these subcategories and in here look for product ideas. Another good spot to look for product ideas is, and I call this spying on other Amazon sellers. So what I've done here is I've just searched for yoga mat. Is my screen any better now again?
Yeah, I think some people are still having problems. Can you just maybe increase the magnify to maybe 125 or something?
Yep. How's that? Is that a little better?
I think that should work for people. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. So we made a search for yoga mat. This is an item that I already know that there's a fair amount of private label sellers on. And you could do this. There's hundreds of products you can do this for. You can click on an item, and I can go through into either the brand name right here or the seller selling it. And when I click on these, this is another good way to get product ideas. So I see, okay, I know this person is a private label seller. These are some of the other items that they're selling. And then from there, again, I can go in and look at the BSR, which is the best sellers rank, to find out, if these items are selling well for them. If so, then I could look into it further.
Okay, and how do you know that they're an FBA seller?
An FBA seller, a private label seller?
Yeah.
I know they're an FBA seller. If I look right in here on the main page, it says ships from and sold by. That means that it is an FBA seller. If Amazon was selling this, it would just say sold by Amazon.
Got it.
All right. So those are two ways we can come up with product ideas. The way that we're going to spend most of our time doing it tonight, just because it's the quickest way, is this is the Jungle Scout web app. And what we've done here, let me zoom into this one also. Can you see that better? Or can you see it okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know some of it's kind of small here, so I'll try to walk you through it as well. Not only show it to you, but walk you through it as well. But what we've done here is we have rebuilt Amazon's catalog in such a way that is user-friendly for sellers to search through, okay? So whereas the Amazon site is built for consumers, built for buyers, and they've set it up in that such a way. So, you can't filter on their site by items that are already selling 300 units a month, or that, have a really good rank, or that, don't have too high FBA fees or whatever, something along those lines. So what we've done is, we've rebuilt their catalog in such a way that you can do this. So what you're looking at up at the top is a whole bunch of filters. So I can filter anything, by categories. Here I have price, net, rank, all kinds of things. You can either filter whether it's standard or oversized or who's selling the product. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for an item for us that I already know is selling well on Amazon, that isn't too competitive, is priced in the area that I'm looking for, and make a search there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I selected all the categories, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove a few that I'm not really interested in selling in. So I removed appliances. I'm gonna remove cell phones and clothing, computers and accessories. Let's see, I'm gonna remove electronics as well. I don't want to sell a piece of jewelry, photo and shoes, watches. I'm gonna remove toys and games, but I would normally keep that, but I was searching through here like a week ago and I noticed it was mostly Halloween stuff, which is kind of artificially inflated right now. Obviously, a lot of people are buying Halloween costumes. So I noticed there was just a whole bunch of Halloween stuff in there. So just to clean up our results, we can get rid of that. And I'm just going to go ahead and enter a few filters here. So after I filter these results, the database is only going to show us items that fit within this criteria. So I'm going to do $20 to $40. The net would be how much money is left over after FBA fees. For now, I'm just going to leave that blank, but we can come back to it. I'm going to do something that sells, I'm going to say at least 400 units a month. So that would be over 10 units a day. So that would be, a product selling well. And of course, you can also filter by estimated revenue. The reviews, I want something that's already selling well without many reviews, which signifies to me it's either not very competitive or this is a newly launched product and it's still doing well. So I'm going to say under 50 reviews. And you can filter by rating. So that would be, like a 3-star, 4-star rating. You can also filter by weight. I'm just going to leave some of those blank for now and just see what we come up with here. So this would be kind of like the first pass. And then if it's just overwhelming how many results there are, we can adjust our criteria to kind of narrow down on it a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like we have 798 products.
Yeah, that's right. So there's roughly 800 products that fit under all this criteria, which is quite a few, but 200 products per page, 4 pages worth. I'm going to go ahead and start looking through some of these just to see what we're working with.
Okay, so, and then how is this being filtered? It's descending by alphabetical?
Right now, that's right. It's in alphabetical order. I can click on any of the column headers if I would like and search, sort it that way. So I could sort by estimated monthly sales and it would show me the best selling items first, or revenue, or whatever I wanted.
Okay. Hey, Greg, would you mind increasing the magnification? Some people are still seeing blurry. I don't know if that ruins the columns.
Yeah, I think if I do it too much more, it's going to be off my screen.
Oh, it is. Okay. For those who are seeing it blurry, maybe if you do go to YouTube and adjust it to 720 pixels, not in Webinar Jam, that might help. Better clarity. But I think, unfortunately for the web app, this is the best we can screen share at.
Okay. So I'm going to look through all of these results, and essentially first pass through, I actually just look at the pictures. And of course there's 1,001 ways you can do this. I'm just sharing this one way that I know works well for me. Of course you can adjust your filters to anything you want. Maybe you only want to sell something in the baby category, or only in beauty, or you only want a higher priced item, or only want a lower priced item, or whatever. So of course you can adjust the filters however you want them. So I'm just looking through here, and I'm just going to look for items that I think would be viable products to private label. So these would be kind of items that we went over earlier. So smaller and lightweight's better. I don't want something that's branded. For instance, if it's Under Armour, it's like that item's probably selling well because it has that Under Armour label on it. I probably can't compete with a Greg's, sports shirt brand for something like that. Other items I'm passing on now is, these are Halloween items. So these are probably just going to sell, are just going to sell well one small part of the year. And I want something that's going to sell well the entire year.
Sure.
So I'm just looking through some of these items to see if anything catches my eye. And then I'm just going to open up a few of these items and look into them further. So pretty much anything with clothing, I'm skipping on. Anything that looks complicated to me, like this thermostat, I'm going to skip on that. Let's see. Same thing, like all this light stuff, I like to skip on that. This looks kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and just open this up into a new tab. And I'm just going to go through here and just look for a few items and open them up into new tabs.
Okay, so when you're looking here, are you looking at some numbers or the images?
Right now I'm strictly just looking at the images. So okay. I already know that all of the products being shown here, I've filtered it, by the numbers so that they at least fit into the kind of the criteria that I'm looking for. So right now I'm mainly just looking for items that I think would be viable to private label.
Got it. Okay.
And to be honest with you, there's a few of these items that I just know are just like super competitive. Like for instance, these wine openers right here. Like 6 months ago, I probably would have clicked on that and looked into it further. Just to be honest with you, I just know now that like a few of these items, like there's like 50 or 100 private label sellers on that item. So I'm just going to kind of skip through. And to be honest with you, I like kind of weird items. I guess here's another criteria that we didn't really talk about. And this is kind of new for me, but if the item's something that I could tell my buddy I'm selling, and he would be like, dang, that's really cool that you own this company that sells this. That's probably a red flag to me. I like weird items that my buddy would say, what, you sell, like a slimming body wrap, Greg? You're kind of weird, man. Like, to me, that'd be a good thing, because that probably means that it's usually not as competitive, because, a lot of people do like to sell the items that they can tell their buddy, like, oh, hey, I'm selling CrossFit items, that's pretty cool. Or like, I'm selling these really cool whatever else. So this catches my eye. I have a drain hair catcher.
Okay.
So that passes my weirdness test. My buddies would make fun of me if I told them I sold that. So I'm just gonna go to page 2, and I'll just go through like 2 pages tonight. From there, we'll probably come up with a few ideas, and then we'll start looking into some of these ideas. So right now, like we said, I'm just looking at pictures, just looking for items that I think would be of a viable private label item.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, there's some of these items that like I'm passing right through, but could be very viable. I'm gonna try this hard hat. That might not pass the liability test for me unless they have some like good certifications. This one, yeah, that probably should not do a hard hat, but so I'm just looking through here for ideas, guys. This is film canisters. To me, like, I never would have guessed, these 60 pack of film canisters are, they're $20, $15 left over after fees. And like, he's selling almost 20 a day with only 29 reviews. That's pretty cool. So yeah.
So are there filters, maybe whether they use a web app or just different criteria to look at, that would be helpful to look at, if, besides just the price criteria and number of reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the other criteria that are good to look at, and I'll kind of touch on this a little bit more when we look at these items inside the Amazon store. So this item looks pretty cool and weird to me. I guess is a sauce you put underneath your plants. And we'll get 1 or 2 more ideas. Pull-up grips.
And if anybody has an idea that they'd be willing to donate or want Greg to look into, just drop it in the chat, and we can also look at that maybe if Greg thinks it's maybe worth following up on.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, guys, that you definitely don't want to do that if it's an item you want to sell yourself, because it is then available to everyone watching this. But yeah, like again said earlier, we have no idea what we're going to sell, so we're still looking for ideas. If you know of one better than what we've pulled up, then cool.
So Bob asked, can you use negative words to filter?
As of today, no. As of probably like next week, yes. And Bob, I agree with you. That would be really good. Like, it'd be cool to be able to do negative word NFL in here and get rid of all that NFL stuff, because all that stuff's like officially licensed, right? Or I could have done negative word for Halloween. That would be another really good one. So, all right. We've got now a bunch of ideas here. I'm going to get rid of hard hat because that's probably not something I want to sell.
Maybe that's under the Halloween category, actually.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Anyway, we're getting serious. Okay, and we got some other good ideas here. I'm going to get rid of the bestsellers here. All right. Oops, sorry about that. So now I'm left with a few different ideas. So what am I looking at here? A squat pad, I think, would be the main term in there. So I'm just going to search all of the Amazon store for this, whatever keyword I think is most relevant to that particular item. So on this page, I'm going to run the Jungle Scout extension, but if you don't have it, again, you can go into each of these pages and manually extract all this information from these pages. So the information we're looking for is going to be like the bestsellers rank, the number of reviews, some stuff you can't get from the page, like estimated sales, but again, you can get that from our free sales estimator. You can't get the FBA fees, but you can get that from Amazon's tool. Let me hang on one second. Let me adjust the screen so you guys can see this better. Let's see.
And just a reminder for, I saw Cynthia sees that it's pretty blurry, the screen. I posted the YouTube link at the sticky, actually it might have disappeared. But yeah, if you click out onto YouTube, it'll be a much clearer picture.
Cool. So what I've done here now, guys, is I searched for this word, this item, or whatever keyword I think is most relevant to this item. So I did squat pad. And what I've found
Greg,
here,
are we looking, sorry. Right now we see the extension. Are you moving around? Or some people think they lost a screen.
Can you see it moving now? I wasn't,
I can see it.
But now I am.
Okay. No,
Okay.
that's all good.
Yeah, and I think, of course, again, stop me if you think it, it's messed up on my end. Other people are having problems viewing it. You might be able to try to close out of some things that are taking up some bandwidth, and it might come through a little bit clearer. Of course, we're always going to post a replay of this. Live webinars are always kind of challenging for, both getting on the internet trying to upload stuff, your internet trying to download it. So hopefully we'll make the best of it. Yeah, so as you guys just saw there, I ran the Jungle Scout extension. I know a lot of you guys watching this already have it, so you already know how it works, but it just extracts all this relevant information from all of the items on this Amazon page. So, we see like the price, the estimated monthly sales, number of reviews, FBA fees. This is the product size tier, which is whether the product is like standard or oversized. The net's going to be how much money's left over after Amazon takes their FBA fees. So a lot of information there. And the main thing that I'm looking for in here now is, remember, I said I want an item that there's already plenty of demand on Amazon for, but I also want something that's not too competitive, okay? So when I say there's enough demand, just a general rule of thumb that I like to use, and you guys can, of course, modify this accordingly. But I guess for our, for our process, for our webinar series here, we'll probably go by, we'd like to see that there's roughly 3,000 units of that type of item being sold on Amazon each month, okay? So right now, I can just do some quick math in my head. That'd be like 1,800, 2,000. Probably once I get down to like the 7th item here, that'd be roughly 3,000 units of this particular item are already being sold on Amazon, okay? So I know there's already a good amount of demand on Amazon. I already know that there are plenty of people going to Amazon and searching for this item, which is a good thing. Other things I want to look for is that it's not too competitive, and the easiest way to tell that is by the number of reviews. So this item actually looks pretty good. This guy right here is like 340 reviews, but it looks like everyone else has, 12, 25, 45, 110. These are all very realistic numbers of reviews for like us personally to get when we launch this item in a month or 2 months from now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious about that. It looks like that second rank listing is netting 18 cents, and their price is like a third of whatever. Like, if you click on the price, what are you interpreting that data as?
When I click on the price, it shows up this is a historic graph of what the price is. So, it looks like back in just in September, it was, more expensive, $11, $13 back in May and June. So for whatever reason, it looks like Amazon's the one selling this particular item. And for whatever reason, they've chosen to sell this thing for really cheap. So that's a little bit of a red flag for us. But at the same time, if we look at these other items, they are selling well at higher price points that we'd like to sell ours at. It looks like this item's just kind of it looks like a pretty, kind of like cheap one, whereas something like this looks a little more heavy duty, nicer. You know what I mean?
Sure. And then I think Tracy asked, like, how do we know that this will sell well all year?
Yeah, so
That
it's a
it's
good
not
question.
just a seasonal product.
So one of the things we do is we can click on the trend down here. And again, if you don't have Jungle Scout, we get this information from Google Trends. I'm sure if you search for it, you can probably find this on their website somewhere, and you could type in squat pad. So I can look at some of this stuff, and it looks like in September and April, or let's see, it looks like, and I'm just looking through this real quickly, that it's relatively consistent throughout the year. Looks like we, around, and this would make sense because it's a piece of exercise equipment, like around the holidays, people aren't exercising as much, so it doesn't sell quite as well. Of course, after New Year's, everyone gets in, their little exercise spurts, so they're buying this kind of thing, so it sells well then. But a red flag would be if you saw like a huge spike just during like the middle of the summer months, and the rest of the year it kind of like dulled out. An example of that, if we searched like pool float, that's what we'd probably see for that type of item.
Sure.
So it looks like this is like fairly consistent throughout the year.
And in general, then an upward trend. So that might be a positive factor.
Yeah, that's absolutely a positive factor. I don't get too caught up on that. The only time I do get caught up on it is if it's like a really bad downward trend. So I looked at, just for fun, I searched like CDRs a few weeks ago, and I ran the Google Trends on it, and it like started up here, like, 07 is, these things were through the roof, and then now they're just like non-existent. So that would be something that would be a red flag. But if you just see small changes in trends, I wouldn't, even upward or downward, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, of course, it's always nice to see an upward trend.
Okay. And then how are we seeing that the number one ranking for that keyword has 12 reviews, but a really good BSR?
So it's a good question. If I had to guess, I'd say this guy just did a big product giveaway. It's probably a really new product that he, just gave away a whole bunch of units, still waiting for some of his reviews to come in because, his BSR is way better than anyone else's, which to me is a red flag that he just did a big giveaway. So towards the end of the webinar, we'll kind of go over how are some ways to check that. I can see if there's rank data on it. Yeah, so there's no rank data on him yet. But we'll kind of go over at the end how we can better identify those types of items of people doing that.
Okay. And then, sorry, one more question from Manuel. He was, again, asking about the depth of the market for the 3,000 units. So just to clarify that, you're just adding up the estimated sales for the first 10 products, correct?
Yeah, or
14,
until the results are no longer relevant. So let's now kind of squat pad, right? Squat pad. So let me look down here. That still to me looks like a squat pad. And this may not have been the best keyword. It looks like maybe barbell pad would have been better. But so for instance, that might still be good. You just want to look down at some of the items like when the items are no longer relevant. So if I got down to like the 6th result and we're no longer seeing barbell or squat pads, but now we're seeing knee braces, those you wouldn't want to add into the 3,000 because essentially Amazon's just putting those in there because there's no more relevant search results. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Okay. And then one more question before we maybe move on to a different product.
Okay.
Is it important to kind of clean up the data, remove some of the products? Are you referencing the averages at the very top, or are you just looking line by line at each item?
I'm looking line by line, and I like to actually keep it so you can adjust how this is sorted by clicking on the column headers. So, now the highest is at the top, lowest is at the bottom. But I actually like to keep it in the same, organized in the same way that Amazon gives it to me. I find that, that's how the customer is going to see it. That's how I'd like to see it as well.
I mean, I was actually talking about if you would say, click on that 8 manta ray, for example, remove that. So then it no longer, it'll change the averages. You don't mess with that.
It looks like most of these are relevant, but again, if like we go back to the example that there was only 6 squat pads or barbell pads and the rest were knee pads, I'd go through and I just X these out real quick, and then our averages up here would change accordingly.
Okay, great. So then what do you think? Should we keep this or maybe just keep it?
So far, let's keep this. I'm not going to close out of the window yet. I'm going to keep it open because it looks like it could be viable. It's something that we can look into further. Okay. So now we're at the thing my buddies were going to make fun of me of, the shower drain hair catcher. So I'm going to try to pull out the main keywords I think are in here, and I'm probably going to do drain hair catcher. We'll see what this comes up with. It looks like most of those are types of things you put in your shower drain to catch the hair. So as this runs, right away I see some red flags that most of the top items are pretty low priced. Let me see if I might be able to. Can you see a little better now again? Probably so.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like, those top 3 items, they're all the best sellers. They're all too inexpensive for the item we want to sell, less than $10. If you look over here in the net, there's only like $5 or $2 or $5 left over after Amazon takes their fees. And yeah, this product would only cost us like $1, but we prefer to make like $10 on each sale as opposed to like $2 or $3. It's just going to help us, raise money a lot faster. So I'd prefer a little higher priced item. So sure. Right away, I'm not going to take any more time on this since we're going to try to move through these. So I'm going to go ahead and close out that tab. Film canisters. This is pretty interesting. Let me search all the Amazon store for film canisters and see what we come up with. So it looks like all these search results are relevant. I see black ones and clear ones. It's cool.
Does it look like those images could be improved? Huh?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, and one of the things we'll talk about, in a few weeks in our webinar series will be, like a good setting up our listing. And one important part of that is going to be the images. So yeah, it looks, as again mentioned, most of these look kind of bad. I think we could definitely improve on these. So I'm looking at these items. The good news is the competition is really low, right? One guy has 76 reviews, but everyone else 29, 11, 26, practically no reviews. I could give away 50 units, get 40 reviews, and probably be up in one of those top 2 or 3 spots. It looks like this one, let's see, these 2 are selling really well. One's a pack of 60, one's a pack of 15. There's not a ton of depth. It looks like if we added these up, maybe we'd at 2,500. So not quite what we said about 3,000. But the good news about this item is the competition is really slim. We can easily get in there by a small giveaway. It definitely passes the test that it's not like a cool item to sell. I think if I said I started a business to sell film canisters, people would think I was kind of weird, but that's what I'm going for.
Is it just a film canisters? So Greg, on that point of competition, couple of people are wondering how we know it's too much competition. Like, is there a numerical threshold we can consider? And then another person asked, what about the intellectual property? Like, for example, might Kodak have IP on this, and how would we check on that?
Yeah, those are both good questions. So the first one regarding the competition, I like to look, if I were to do a search and the top few results have like, let's say like 400 or 500 or more, like even up to like 1,000, to me, that's like an immediate red flag. I know, and these are all just general rules of thumbs that I, use in my Amazon business, but of course, people have different thresholds, risk tolerances and stuff. I like to go for items that I think I can give away like 50 units and therefore get like 30 or 40 reviews. And from that, go ahead and get up somewhere that I'm ranking to make sales already. So let me try to think. We can do a quick, let me just try to show you something that would be like a big red flag to me. So let's, and to me, I just know that this particular item is really competitive, really popular with the private label group. You still with me again?
Yep.
Okay,
it's loading.
Cool. All right. I noticed it was didn't load right. I was like, uh-oh, did I lose everybody?
Yeah.
Man, internet connection might be going slow now. Actually, we can just look right at these items. So, keep in mind these two top items are sponsored. Below that, this guy has 1,800 reviews, about 300, 900, 1,500, over 1,000. So these are all like a ton of reviews, right? So I'm just trying to, I'm thinking, if I'm trying to compete with these guys, how many units do I have to give away to get enough reviews to even like start selling items, So here the case would be hundreds and hundreds to even get onto this page probably. So I'd probably be on, page 2 or 3, and there you're never going to make any sales. So I don't have like a real good hard number like I do the 3,000 for the demand. But if I'm just seeing a bunch of sellers, with 300, 400, 500 or 1,000 reviews, I just stay clear of that.
Okay.
And then the intellectual property.
Yeah,
that's a good question. The one thing that to me is really easy to identify is if it's like a brand, like if it's an officially licensed NFL brand or whatever. To me, that's an automatic red flag. You want to stay away from those items. Something like these for like a patent is sometimes a little more difficult. Often these items will have it in their product description. So this is a pretty, let's see, just looking through their product features real quick. I don't see anything about a patent. Where I'd go from there would be just a Google search for like film canister patent. And I'll just try a few different things like that. Film canister, intellectual property. And I'd try to think of some other words too for film canister. And then the last, if you're pretty sure that it's not, but you want to double check, the last thing I usually do is just physically order this product just from Amazon, just spend the $20 and check on the bottom of these items to see if it is patented.
Okay.
So I wouldn't imagine this. I don't think you could patent something this general. I imagine like a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, you'd then fall out of the patent. But again, I'm far from a patent attorney. I don't claim to know all the rules about it either. So I do know I also stay away from items that are just patent pending that, from my understanding, a lot of times these people don't get the patent, but if they do, they could sue you for the money you made while the patent was pending. So just, if you want my opinion, stay away from those items. And we're going to be in this launch series.
Okay, great. So real quick, how much do those weigh? Like 20, pack of 60? Or how big is it?
Yeah, let's go back and look real quick. I'm going to change some of our filters here to answer that. So I can do, so none of them are oversized items. All of them are standard items. And I can add in weight for you to answer that question again. So keep in mind, that top one was 60 units. So it appears people like buying the larger packs as opposed to the smaller 12 or 15 packs.
Okay.
And then they're very light. So it's like a half pound, for those items. So, so I'm going to leave this one open. I think this is a potential item. Not quite as much demand as what we wanted to see, but really low competition, which is nice. And as long as we do one of these larger packs, like a pack of 60, or maybe we could even do a pack of 100, depending on how much these things cost, we could do it at one of these higher price points.
Okay. Cool. So we got two things now: squat pads and film canisters.
Yep. And then looks like this is I'm trying to think of a good keyword for this.
Could that be for Christmas tree stand, or is that more just general plants around the house?
I'm thinking this is probably
small.
general, just underneath pots.
Got it. Okay.
16-inch. So let's just say pot saucer. All right. Looks like the type of item we were looking at. I see some that are, well, let's go ahead and just run Jungle Scout on it. Still with me there again?
Yep, I'm here. Just to answer a question from Mir Grossman real quick, wondering why you can't extract more than 24 listings at once. Well, you can and you can't. I guess you just click extract next page and it'll get the next 24.
Yeah,
right,
so
Greg?
what it does is extracting one page worth of results. So all the items there were showing up from this page. Then click on extract results is equivalent to going down here and hitting page 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, just as an example, just because I said I want this to be a sales pitch, let's do one kind of like the old-fashioned way real quick for people. Let's see here. Oh man, is this bad timing or what, guys? We have uptime monitoring on our website, and I just got a text message that says our database is down. It goes down like once a month for like 1 minute. Of course, it would happen while we're on a webinar.
All right. So, well, then we're going really old school then. Just sheer intuition.
Yeah.
That's the numbers.
That's no problem. And we can just take a second to actually just talk about a few of these items. So let's go back and look at squat pad again. And again, we want an item that, we kind of talked about this. These are items that are easy for us to source from China and are relatively easy for them to make. It doesn't matter if they have kind of poor quality control. So to me, this type of item right here, the squat pad or even barbell pad, is going to be an item that is pretty easy to make, right? Like, even if a factory in China has bad quality control, like, you can't mess this thing up that bad probably, right? It's not like it has a whole bunch of moving parts. It looks like it's just kind of one piece of foam. It's like if the tolerances were off on this foam a little bit, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? I think it would still work. It'd still, probably fit around your barbell and, still cushion you a little bit. So this would be like a pretty good item. Same thing. Were you about to ask a question again?
I was, yeah. For either of those, if you just hit Jungle Scout on either the film canisters or the squat pad, or any item, for example, and you see that a lot are sold by Amazon. This is a question I saw in the chat box. Would that deter you if a majority of the listings were sold by Amazon?
Yeah, that's a good question. And no, it does not deter me. And let me explain why. And you'll see that in the estimated sales column here, it might not load. That's because it's pulling from the database on our servers. Like we said, oh, looks like we might be back up, guys. That's good. What horrible timing, right? That only happened though if you're on a live webinar. To answer your question though, so this one's all FBA, so that's a bad example. Let me go back to our squat pads example. So here's some items being sold by Amazon. And to me, this is a large misconception in the Amazon seller space. People will say, okay, you know, I see 1, 2, 3, you know, this one doesn't have that many, but some even have more than this. Like I see that Amazon's also selling that product. You know, are you sure you want to compete with them? And my answer always is yes, absolutely. I don't care. I'm not scared of competing against Amazon. And the reason for that is keep in mind, well, from all of the products that I've sold in my research, Amazon doesn't seem to favor the items that they're selling as opposed to FBA sellers, okay? Another reason for this is that, and something that kind of backs up that claim, I think a lot of times Amazon will actually make more money on an item that's sold FBA as opposed to an item that they sell themselves. So for most items, they take 15% commission. So right away they have a 15%, you know, like profit margin on that item, as well as, you know, your FBA, like your pick and pack and shipping fees. And I'm sure there's some markup and they're making some money there. So keep in mind, like any item that Amazon has less than 15% margins on, they're making more money by selling, which is a lot of them. They're making more money by selling an FBA item as opposed to their own item. The other good thing about selling items that Amazon's your competitor is that they're never going to do sponsored ads, you know, pay-per-click. They don't sponsor their own items when they're in the buy box. And you also don't have to worry about them just doing like anything shady or, you know, not even so much shady, but, you know, they're not going to like do a giveaway to get a whole bunch of reviews to start, or you don't have to worry about them, you know, and a lot of times, you know, like their listings won't be optimized. Since they don't really care as much about all these particular products, they usually don't have a bunch of high quality photos and, you know, real good information in the product description and the bullets and that kind of thing. So
in your experience though, will they undercut you on price?
I think Amazon definitely has like repricers on the items that they're selling, but it seems like it's only for that particular ASIN or SKU. So they'll only be repricing. For instance, let's just look at this item real quick. All right, it looks like, you know, this item, Amazon owns the buy box here. There's 16 other people on this item. And so this is 16 other people selling this particular item. So, which right away tells me that Valio is probably like a known brand. And a lot of you guys, if you're weightlifters, you know, you might say, yeah, of course, Greg. But so Amazon will compete against the other 16 sellers on this particular item. Amazon doesn't, from my experience, compete against like other people who are competing on that keyword. So, they don't say, okay, well, there's another person selling, and this is Amazon again, but you know, they don't say, okay, there's another FBA seller selling another squat pad or barbell pad for $10. We want to sell ours for $7. They just compete against the other people on that listing.
Okay, cool. So can we try Jungle Scout on the saucer?
Yep, let's do it. All right. So let's see here. So this top saucer is selling really well, about $1,500 a month. Looks like it's maybe like a 12-pack of clear ones. Then it looks like some of these other people are, it's like all a little bit different here. As far as the demand, I'm actually glad we did this, or that example like this popped up. So when I see, when I search for an item and it's real heavy all on the first seller, so it's like, you know, the first item here, you know, selling like $1,500 a month. So, they're crushing. That's a ton of product. But all these other items aren't, this is a fair amount of product, but the item that we sourced together for this series of webinars, I'd like it to sell at least 10 a day. And right here looking at it, it seems like unless I was in that #1 spot, that I'm not going to be able to sell 10 a day.
Plus, looks like it's just all 2 brands there, Hydrofarm and Acro Mills, huh?
Yeah, that's a good call. I don't know if people would be too, I'm not much of a gardener, so I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't imagine that people buying pot saucers or plant saucers or whatever you want to call them care too much about the brand, though. That's probably that, there's kind of the only 2 people out there making them right now. But another thing that, since I did see that this top item is selling really well, why don't I try clear saucer and see what we come up with? So, I don't know. Maybe people only like the clear ones. It looks like the same thing, though. Only this 12-pack of clear ones are, sorry, the 12-inch clear ones are the ones selling really well. These guys down here are selling some, but a little bit lower price point. So I don't love this item. I like it kind of weird, and there don't appear to be like any private label sellers in the space. That's good, but there just doesn't seem to be quite enough demand on Amazon for it.
Sure.
And I would imagine, I don't know for sure what the seasonality of this item's like, because these are obviously used for indoor plants as well. It looks like the Google data is kind of funny, which again is kind of a red flag to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and X out of this one.
Okay. So we have squat pads and film canisters have remained. Pot saucers, and what was the other one that you cut?
Good question. I don't even remember now. I'm sure one of our people in the audience can remind us.
All right. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Okay. So then, yeah, maybe this will be the last one, the pull-up grips.
Yeah. So, and again, I just kind of pulled out, I guess that'd be the main keyword of this item. Looks like kind of wrist wrap, pull-up grip. Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Jungle
it was a hard hat.
Hard hat, yeah.
And the drain wig, yeah. Forgettable
right.
products, I suppose.
All right, so looks like for this particular item, there's tons of demand, which is great. I can easily see looking through there that that would meet our 3,000. Another thing that's good is and this is a good difference from the pot saucer to this item. Here, there's plenty of people selling the 10 a day. So it looks like everyone in the top 7 results is selling about 10 a day or more, which is good. There may be, and it looks like there's a few different kind of styles. I don't know for sure. Yeah.
So it looks like targeting the CrossFit demographic.
It appears so. I see CrossFit there.
Greg, a few people couldn't find the trend button on their extension.
So this is the trend button's only in Jungle Scout Pro. It's not in Jungle Scout. And keep in mind that the trend button only works on search pages because it's the trend for this particular search. So when I hit trend, this is how, and Google doesn't have enough information on this item, but this is only the trend for pull-up grips. If I was inside a particular item, this doesn't tell us how this particular Google trend data can't give us data for this particular item, which is wad fitters, textured leather hand grip. So you're not going to see the trend button on that page. The thing you can use here, though,
go to
is
trends.google.
Yeah, exactly.
And type in the keyword, right?
Right, exactly. But then some of these items will have, and this is equivalent to trend data. This is the rank history for this particular product. It looks like it hasn't been on here very long because it only dates back to like August. But this item stayed pretty consistent over the past couple. months, and 10,000.
All right.
So
So, Greg, your
and you,
engine's still loading?
no, did I freeze on you?
Yeah, your screen froze. Yeah.
Okay, let me see my smiling face again. All right, you see my face?
Do not yet. In
Do
the
not
meantime,
yet.
maybe, oh, there we go. There you go. 2 thumbs up. All right. Thank you.
Lost sound and screen. All right, let's give it a second to make sure we're back here.
Okay. In the meantime, maybe can you explain the significance of the tier information?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tier that you're shown there in Jungle Scout is essentially, there's some sub tiers, but essentially we have standard and oversized products on Amazon. The standard items are, and you'll forget the exact dimensions, so I just use it's about the size of a shoebox. So if it can fit inside a shoebox, then it's in the standard size tier, as long as it's less than like 25 pounds. I think the numbers are like 18 by 14 by like 6 inches or something. It's roughly the size of a shoebox, though. If it's larger than that, then it's going to be an oversized item. Okay, so even if it's like long and skinny, like a whatever, if it's greater than that 18-inch maximum, so it wouldn't be able to fit in roughly a shoebox, then it's going to be oversized. And the oversized items are going to the fulfillment fees for those items are going to be higher in Amazon, significantly higher. Like it's a big tier jump, as well as if you're a new seller on Amazon. Amazon actually limits you to 500 items that you can store inside their warehouse if it's oversized.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Thanks.
So,
Yeah, I think that should answer the question.
okay, cool.
Yeah, should we try?
Yeah, let's try it again. All right. So let me know if you can see my screen back.
All right. Still seeing you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try one last time. If not, I think I'll try one last time. And if not, we've got a few good candidates here. So I'm trying to switch from my video to my screen again.
Okay, nice. Got it.
Okay, cool. So I guess we were going over this last item, which was our pull-up grips. I kind of forget exactly where we were at in it, but the demand looks good. It doesn't look too competitive. If I look at that, it looks like if I were to, maybe a little bit more competitive than like film canisters or squat pad. But if I were to get like, say, 60 or 80 reviews, I think I should be able to get up here in these top 5 or 6 items. It does kind of fail the test of whether my friends would think I was cool if I sold this or not. This probably is like a little more like trendy, cooler item, which I prefer not to have. But we could probably find a downside with any item we're looking at on here. So, that's just the general criteria. And then, of course, at the end of this, we need to eventually just pick one item and order it. So, yeah, we'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
So cool. Let's we're at about an hour now. I was hoping to have a few more ideas, maybe like 5, but at the same time, I don't want this to drag on to be like a 3-hour long webinar. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and start tracking a few of these items, and then we can look at the information for next week. So you can still see my screen, right, Gen?
Yeah, I can see it. It might be blurry for some, and if it is blurry, then maybe go to YouTube. For anybody who didn't see that before, the link is posted. Yeah, and Greg, maybe as well, if there are others that you come across, we can add them to the blog and then explain maybe why they might be promising private label products.
Yeah, that's a good call. And then, right, we can always look for more items, like you said, post little things like that. Maybe other people would submit ideas, but this is the general way I go about finding products. So, of course, like we said earlier, makers of Jungle Scout, so we're of course going to be using this software. I think we've kind of gone over how you can do it without it though, but my general workflow would be find product ideas in the product database, because it's so much easier to find an item that's already selling well without much competition from there, as opposed to just sorting through the Amazon catalog. I look at those items on the Amazon store, and then our last part before we end this tonight again is we're going to track a few of these items. So, and this is in the Jungle Scout web app. There's a product tracker, and this is just a demo item here. What this does is it tracks inventory, sales, and the best sellers rank on a daily basis. So I can add some of these items to our product tracker, and I'm doing so by just copying and pasting the URL. Then what's going to happen is on a daily basis, it's going to check to see what the inventory and rank and sales are, so that we can come back and, like, for next week's webinar, we can look at a bunch of this information. So all I'm doing is I'm just copying and pasting these URLs into the product tracker here, and I'm going to track a few of these. So, and looks like I'm selecting a few different styles there.
Okay, sure. So Greg, also, I think some people are unfamiliar with the web app and how they can try it and sign up for it. And so can you explain that a little bit?
Yes. So if you go to our website, junglescout.com, you'll see there is a button to sign up for the web app there. And so if you want, you could use the product database tonight. Go ahead and start tracking these products, and you could kind of like follow along with us if you wanted throughout the course of these webinars. Because next week we can kind of go over what the tracked information looks like, and how to identify people, items that had an inflated rank. Therefore, it looks like they're selling a lot better than they are just because they did a big giveaway and that kind of thing.
Sure. Great.
So yeah, same thing, guys. I'm just putting in a few examples from each product we found. So I put in, that 60-pack of film canisters. I'm gonna do the same thing with this 15-pack, just so we can kind of look over some of these items. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with some of these pull-up grips.
And Greg, while you're doing that,
sure.
Maybe can you address, does Jungle Scout track what others are searching and tracking?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So no, we do not. And I understand that's a valid concern for people, because you are, it's good to, you obviously spend a lot of time coming up with these ideas. So for instance, I know some people in the past have been worried about, like, okay, so if I run this on this page right here, does it tell you that I searched for film canisters and therefore like someone at Jungle Scout could use it? And the answer is absolutely not. The only information that ever even goes to our server is the best sellers rank and the product name. And this is for the extension. Excuse me, not the product name. The best sellers rank and the category. And the reason for that is that's how we calculate the estimated sales for you. So we never share like product name or ASIN or anything like that. Inside of the product tracker, of course, the web app's going to be tracking this information for you. But like Gen or I at Jungle Scout, we don't have a way to like go into your account or something and like look at what items you're tracking. So, I mean, we take your privacy and security very seriously. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
That was your question, right, Ken?
Yeah, and that was a question that several people asked in the comments.
Okay, yeah, and that's definitely a valid concern, and I understand why you'd be concerned about that, because, if you put a lot of hard work and are starting to sell some of these products, you wouldn't want someone else to take it. But the answer to that's definitely not.
All right, so then what's the game plan then? We are adding these to the product tracker. We'll reconvene next Tuesday, same time, 9 p.m.
Yeah,
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Again, it will be recorded. And then our goal next week will be we'll have chosen one of the 3 products or maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more. So, guys, I was moving really quickly at the end there just because I didn't want to drag on this webinar too much. So I added a few different types of each of those product ideas we came up with to the product tracker, and the product tracker is going to collect inventory, sales, as well as rank on a daily basis, and then over the course of the next week. So it's going to start tracking them right now in real time, and then next week we can take a look at that, and that will kind of like let us look at these items underneath the magnifying glass to make sure that they are good items to sell. So, and then we can talk about that more next week. And then, like Gen said, you know, I wanted to find like 5 ideas this webinar. It obviously goes a little bit slower when you're talking through with things. So, but 3 was still great though to get in an hour. I may spend like another 30 minutes after we get off this and find out like a couple more to add to it. If so, maybe we'll have 5 products next week. If not, one of these 3 is probably viable for us to sell and raise a bunch of money for charity for. So even if not, that's cool. Yeah, and I see a fair amount of questions in here. There is a difference between the extension that we were using. So let me just screen share one more second because I see there's a bunch of these questions. Let me know when you can see it again.
Yep, we can see it.
So the Jungle Scout extension is this item right here. It integrates into Google Chrome, right? And then when you're inside the Amazon store, you hit this little JS button that's in the upper right-hand corner of your browser, and that's what shows you all of this information. So those are extensions, and there's like one for $87 and one for $147. And the web app's actually a separate tool. That's what we're looking at. That's where we're using the product tracker, and that's what we're looking at for the product database to come up with ideas. And this one's a monthly for $39 a month. So,
and people were wondering if they do have JS, they can get JS Pro or the web app, they can upgrade.
Yeah, if you already have JS, you can upgrade to Pro for $60. And then the web app's $39 a month for everyone.
After trial.
After trial, yeah. So it's free for 7 days. So, you know, if you wanted to start using it tonight, you could cancel it by next webinar and never be charged.
Okay. Is there anything else that we can do for homework, or maybe if we're kind of like doing this alongside at home?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it'd be really cool if a bunch of you guys want to follow along with us in this process. You know, like you could find items just like we are tonight. You could ask questions about some of those next week because we'll be doing the same thing, kind of diving in a little bit deeper on, are these definitely items we want to source or not? And that'd be a good chance for you guys to ask questions. So yeah, I mean, you know, if you want to follow us along with us in this process, you can come up with some product ideas tonight, start looking into them, start tracking them if you're using the web app. You know, if not, you can manually take a look at them each day. So yeah.
All right, cool. And then again, the best way to get in touch with you for questions or to follow along with this?
Yeah, so the best way is either our Facebook group, which is the Amazon FBA Competitive Edge. If you search for that on Facebook, you can find it, join it, ask questions about it, and we'll be in there answering them, or in the comments of the blog. So Gen's gonna do an awesome job about keeping this whole process from start to finish in the blog. We'll talk about our successes, our failures, our hiccups, we'll celebrate when we make a bunch of, you know, raise a bunch of money, all those types of things in the blog. And you can ask particular questions about, you know, your product or general Amazon questions or all that kind of thing in the Facebook group or on the blog. And Gen and I are going to be hanging out there, so those are good spots to be asking your questions.
All right. Awesome. I think that should wrap up today then.
What's the blog link? junglescout.com/blog. Or if you go to our website, you can, there's a blog link up at the top. Any Facebook again? Again, you want to post our blog and our Facebook link in there one more time?
Yes. Yeah. I'll add that to the chat now. And yeah, thanks everyone to staying till the end. It's late on the East Coast and dinner time on the West Coast. But yeah, we really appreciate it and definitely want to include you guys in the process. So please share comments in the blog or email or Facebook, but definitely want your input as well because this is a collaborative thing. So definitely trying to learn together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And probably like next week, maybe we'll start doing some polls. We'd like you guys' help. Like, for instance, we don't know exactly what charity to donate the money that we raise to. So that would be great if, you guys could help us choose. Maybe we'll choose like 3 and run a poll. New items that are tied select. So that'd be a real great thing. So we want to include you guys, all you guys. We'd like your help. That'd be great. Any questions you have, we're happy to answer them as well. So
that's right. And actually, forgot it's like there are people who are watching at like 5 a.m., 5:15 a.m.
Yes, that's nothing for those the East Coast people.
Yeah, so thanks for accommodating.
The guys in England,
Yeah.
Right.
It will be recorded though, so maybe when you're less bleary-eyed, you can watch again. But yeah, thanks again, and Greg, thanks for the time and walking through this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for everyone joining, and we'll see you back next week. Again, do they need to re-register, correct?
No, they're already registered, and we'll keep you guys updated by email.
Awesome. So you guys already get the email. We'll be here, same place, same time. Next week, we'll go over the next step. It'll be fun.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.